From bouncing projectiles to item vortex, here are 45 of the most amazing and satisfying experiments in Minecraft. What happens when you throw an ender pearl and instantly enter another dimension? Since version 1.21, unlike older versions, you can teleport between all dimensions using ender pearls if they are thrown on loaded chunks. You can also throw a pearl into any portal and it will transport you to the chosen dimension. Particles are one of the best things in the game. In Minecraft, you can summon various particles such as drops of crying obsidian, musical notes, or even particles of an angry villager. The final effect is truly amazing. When lightning strikes a villager, it turns into a witch. But what if lightning strikes a baby villager? Sure, a baby witch would look quite interesting, but unfortunately, it turns into an adult witch. There is no logic here. Here is a whirlwind of items. Just dig 4 blocks in the middle, and then 7 blocks in each direction, and you should get something like this. After pouring water into each ditch, you will create a satisfying carousel. Throwing lots of different items here will make the whole thing look even better. Can you connect these two slabs? You can do this at the world border, but only one of the pistons will work in this situation. An arrow with an instant heal effect will heal you if you shoot it at yourself. But will it heal you if you have half a heart? Unfortunately, you will die, even with full netherite armor, because the arrow deals damage first and then heals. This is a rainbow concrete powder wave machine. Clicking this button will create a beautiful, colorful wave. And this one, viewed from above, looks really satisfying. We all know that you can put an enderman in a cauldron of water, but will it take damage from waterlogged leaves? Interestingly, yes. Even though he can stand in a cauldron of water, the enderman will still take damage from water-soaked leaves and teleport away. That's interesting. If a zombie is underwater, after a while it will turn into a drowned. So what happens to the giant? Unlike normal zombies, the giant will not turn into a drowned. It will not burn in the sun either. It seems that they only share a similar texture. Which bed will the villager choose? Turn on the night, and the villager will run towards the normal bed. But if we change the bed arrangement, he will choose a different bed. It seems that the villager always chooses the bed furthest north. What if you build a nether portal underwater? Since you can't place fire underwater, you won't be able to activate the portal using flint and steel. However, you can use the set block command in creative mode and manually fill the entire portal. But what if you build an end portal here? The end portal can be normally activated underwater without any problems. This is an ender pearl slide. Pulling this lever will make a lot of pearls appear, and they will start bouncing and gently flowing down. Instead of pearls, you can also use TNT, which looks even better. You can create a cool item elevator using ice, water, and soul sand. By placing blocks in a visible way, all items will start sliding on the ice and bouncing off the water with soul sand. This is definitely better than using hoppers. What if you breed a brown mushroom with a regular mushroom? It would be nice to see a new type of cow, but unfortunately, you'll only get a brown mushroom or a regular one. It works the same way when you try to breed different types of wolves. The young wolf will randomly take the breed of one of the parents. Will concrete powder turn into concrete when it rains? Normally, concrete powder turns into concrete when it comes into contact with water, but it seems that rain is a different type of water. I don't get it. Can you sleep in this bed? The bed is halfway beyond the edge of the world, but if you click on it, you can sleep peacefully. You will also be able to grow here sapling. The mace is a new weapon added in version 1.21, and its damage is dependent on the height of the fall. But what happens when you have the slow falling effect on you? Unfortunately, the effect will cancel out the damage dealt, because the damage is also dependent on the player's falling speed. Killing a lot of mobs at once is always very satisfying, but using commands, we can summon thousands of mobs in one block, and killing them all at once gives us a beautiful effect. It's amazing. There are a few blocks that will completely collapse when the bottom block is destroyed. You can do this with blocks like bamboo, chorus flower, cactus, scaffolding, and sugarcane. This looks really cool. When lightning strikes a pig, it turns into a zombified piglin. But what about when lightning strikes a baby pig? Will it turn into a baby zombified piglin? Luckily, there is more logic here. How long does it take to mine a single block of obsidian? With a netherite pickaxe, it will take 8 seconds. With a gold pickaxe, about 21 seconds. And with a wooden pickaxe, over a minute. But what about a potato? If we want to do it, it will take us 4 minutes and 10 seconds. Good luck removing entire pillars of obsidian. The Dinnerbone name tag turns mobs upside down, but will they also sleep upside down? When you name a villager Dinnerbone, the villager will sleep normally, but the next day when he wakes up, he will still be walking on his head. When you launch the end portal, it will destroy all the blocks inside. But what if you put sleeping villagers inside? When you place the last eye, the villagers with beds will disappear. However, when we enter the end, it turns out that the villagers and the beds are intact. What happens when you cast an ender pearl before going to bed? Will you continue to sleep or will you be kicked out of bed? The answer is simple. When the pearl lands, nothing will happen and you will simply get up in the morning. If you throw a snowball at a slime block, it won't bounce off. However, this mod will make it work. You can bounce ender pearls off walls, arrows off corners, various potions off the floor, and even snowballs off nearby walls, which in my opinion looks the best. This should be in the game. Call a sheep Jeb and it will turn rainbow. So what happens when we try to give her a haircut? She keeps changing colors. So will it give you a random wool color? If you try to shear it, you will get the original color of the wool before the sheep was named Jeb. Have you ever wondered how to cross the world border? Crossing the world border normally is impossible. You can try by boat or even in spectator mod, but in vain. But using a saddled pig and a carrot on a stick, when you get close to the world border and shrink it so it stays behind you, you will be able to reach the real end of the world. Here chunks stop generating. I feel like Columbus. What is the most inefficient way to get to the top of the world? You can think of climbing a ladder or single blocks, but using these weird stairs, it will take almost 30 minutes to get from Y-63 to Y319. I prefer the ladder. Using the strider, you can walk on lava, but what if we turn the strider upside down? As we can see, the strider can also carry us on its legs. It looks quite strange. What happens when you give a villager the levitation effect before sleeping? To my surprise, this one will fly away into the sky, but when we try to do that ourselves, we're stuck in bed, and we will simply get up in the morning. Adventure mode prevents you from destroying any blocks. But when you start destroying a block on survival mod and then switch to adventure mod, when you try to destroy the same block, you will see the animation, but you still won't be able to destroy the block. This should be illegal. Which tool is faster, do you think? Wooden axe with efficiency 5 or netherite axe? I checked it and it turns out that a wooden axe is slightly better. I don't need you anymore. Lava will turn any water source into stone, but what if we add water vegetation there? In this case, the lava will seem to float above the water-filled blocks. I don't get it. Warden is the strongest mob in Minecraft, but will he survive a fall from the maximum height? As we can see, it's no problem for him. Jumping into the end portal will damage us, so will the water spilled under the portal cushion the fall. Despite the water under the portal, we will still take damage. This is a very satisfying sand wave. By creating a large enough area of bubble columns and then stacking sand on top of each other in this way, once the bottom sign is destroyed, all the sand will fall and start bouncing like a wave. Pixel arts are awesome, but we can take them to the next level. We need colored concrete powder and a few torches. By arranging the concrete powder in an interesting pattern, after destroying the lower torch, all the concrete powder will start to fall and form a previously chosen pattern. Villagers are weird. If you cut the bed in half using the debug stick, the villager will still sleep normally, even though half of his body will levitate. And what's even weirder, you can replace the cut part with any block and the villager won't see a problem. As we know, using a bed, we can set a spawn point, but we can't do that in the nether. So what happens when we do this using the command? Unfortunately, after death, we will be immediately transferred to the normal world. Can you survive in the void? As long as you eat enchanted golden apples, you can survive. The totem of undying is very useful. However, for it to work, you have to hold it in your hand. So what happens when you grab it the moment you hit the ground? To my surprise, the totem will still be able to save us. If you call an enderman Dinnerbone, you can look him straight in the eye with impunity. But for some reason, you can't look at his legs because it upsets him. Leave me alone. The trident with the loyalty enchantment will always come back to you. But what if you have a full inventory? The trident will then spin around you and follow you until you make room for it in your inventory. If you stack a lot of sand on top of each other and then place a torch under it, all the sand will start falling down, which already looks satisfying. However, replacing the sand with colored concrete powder will make it even better. Can you mine ancient debris with a wooden pickaxe enchanted with silk touch? Unfortunately, this is impossible. Well, those were 45 Minecraft experiments. I hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe.